Hello, welcome to Jack Speak. My name is Jack, and today I'm going to be speaking about JADE 2, my vintage Firefly Dinghy. So JADE 2 and I. So who, what, and why? So as I said, my name is Jack. I'm in fact Jack Stockford. As a day job, I am a lecturer in aircraft design at Cranford University in Bedfordshire. And what I would like to do is I'd like to make a short video about my vintage Firefly Dinghy JADE 2. Why am I doing it? Well, because I'm interested myself in recording some of the features of the boat. And when I was looking to buy JADE 2, this Mark 1 Firefly Dinghy, there wasn't anything that I could find that really gave me the information that I needed. So I thought I'd make a video of my own. So there's a bit of background. I bought JADE 2, this Mark 1 Firefly Dinghy, built in 1958 on Friday the 10th of May 2024. Here are a few pictures of us going to collect JADE. My good pal Scott came with me to help me collect the boat. I was quite grateful for his help. He's a pretty good mechanic, as it turns out, so he was able to give the trailer a good check over before we left Norfolk, where the boat had been based before its move to Stewartby in Bedfordshire. Here are a few photos on this slide showing the view out the rear view camera, showing JADE being trailed back from Norfolk. The picture on the bottom left, a quick pit stop to make sure the lashings were okay, and the last couple of slides are back at the dinghy park in Stewartby, in a temporary berth, waiting for her final home. The day of the inaugural sail at Stewartby was a little bit nerve-wracking for me. I'd only ever really sailed a Heron dinghy. My previous boat, which I in fact still own, is a 1973 GRP Heron, built by Bossoms in Oxford. I was told, and in fact I had expected the Firefly to be a little bit more tippy, so I was fully expecting to capsize and get soaking wet, which is why I am wearing my terrible wetsuit, my very unflattering wetsuit. In the end, I didn't need it. It was the boat was very well behaved, or I was able to cope with this sportier model. The day of the inaugural sail was the day after I collected the boat on Saturday the 11th of May. I've already spoken about my outfit. I'm not really superstitious in any way, but as a nod to the sailing gods or Neptune or any other sailing traditions, we decided that we should christen the boat to welcome her to Stewartby in some way. Rather than smashing a bottle of something over the bow, potentially breaking the stem, and covering the slipway with glass, we decided to splash her with some Lamb's Navy rum. I'm not particularly a big drinker. I'm more of an Adnams Broadside man rather than a Lamb's Navy rum drinker, which explains my reaction in the little video that follows.
Go on.
Welcome to Stewartby J2. Wonderful. I was very grateful that the excellent varnish work survived the baptizing. Yes, the inaugural sail went off without issue. I fully acknowledge that the set of the sails, the trim of the boat, is not as it should be. But I was quite happy for an inaugural, a maiden voyage at Stewartby, and the boat was pretty much perfect. I was very happy with her. There was a little bit of water flowing into the boat from somewhere. I supposed it was from the bailers. There are two fairly unusual to me anyway, Avon bailers in the bottom of the boat, and after about an hour and a quarter of sailing around, there was about half an inch of water or so at the bottom. For the second voyage, I in fact greased the bailers. Some of the O-rings had become dry. I greased them, and the water inside the boat was much less, which I was grateful for. The wind turbine is a pretty noticeable feature of the Stuartby skyline. It's a pretty good representation of the wind direction and speed, but of course guarantees nothing at water level. There is a reason why wind turbines are built so high. I suppose it is because the wind at a wind turbine level is much more consistent, constant direction and speed. Of course, at the ground, it is much more variable, but still a pretty good representation.
I can't see your face. Oh, I still can't see your face. Oh, there it is.
The footage was filmed by my wife with the help of my son on an inflatable paddleboard. I think she did a pretty good job under the circumstances, so thank you very much if you are listening. A couple of photos here of the first sail, again taken by my wife. The photo on the left shows JADE pretty nicely. The photograph on the right shows off her hull colour really nicely, the varnish hull, which we'll speak about more in a moment. The Optimus dinghy in the background actually belongs to my daughter. We spent the winter of 2023-24 renovating it in our garage. We bought it from the club at Stuartby for the grand sum of £50, and then spent the winter turning it from scrap heap relic to dream boat. Of course, with all these things, you end up spending more on everything else than you did on the boat originally. I think the cover was £50, as much as the boat cost, plus everything else. But anyway, she was very happy with it, and despite my worries, she didn't need much help from me, which was pretty good going, because I couldn't really sail slow enough in the Firefly to sail alongside her. Here I've just been messing about trying to make those 2024 photographs look a little bit more like 1958 photographs, to not a great deal of success, I think. So now there are a few photos which show the condition of JADE 2. I bought the boat. I bought JADE 2 with a view to racing her, or racing her to the best of my abilities. I learnt to sail last year, 2023. Quite quickly bought a GRP Heron, which was an excellent boat for me. I'm capable of sailing it single-handed, or I can sail it with the family, my wife and 2 children. But I wanted something a little bit racier, a little bit more nimble, something with a slightly sportier handicap, shall we say. I am not particularly interested in all things fancy and modern. I do like modern things, of course. As a lecturer in aircraft design, I'm obliged to keep up to date with current trends and technologies, but I do like old things too. I like wooden boats. And I'm very interested in boats that have 2 sails. So the standard single-hander boats, the solos or lasers, that sort of thing, are not my cup of tea. I was very taken by either National 12s. There's some very early National 12s, or by fireflies, early varnished fireflies. I think in the end, the Firefly is a more practical endeavour. It is capable of being sailed single-handed, especially in light to moderate breezes, and I can also sail with my daughter and son, perhaps when he's old enough. So this is how I end up deciding that the Firefly was the boat for me. In fact, I'd seen JADE 2 advertised on Apollo Duck earlier in the year, but I wasn't sailing throughout the winter, so put it out of my mind after the first race of the season. I really decided that I did need a sportier boat, and so contacted the then owners with a view to buying her, which of course I did. What particularly attracted me to JADE 2 was how original she was. She is a very original Mark I Firefly with, from what I can tell, all of the original features and the majority of the original fittings. From the research that I have done, there is not a lot which is unoriginal about her. Some of the parts that have perhaps been replaced, which we'll touch upon in a moment, I have the original parts which came with the boat, so it's quite a nice boat to buy from an historical context. So here are a few photos of JADE still in the original berth. The left-hand side, she's got a lash down against the spring storms. We seem to have had quite a few of them. Certainly a lot of rain. When she's parked permanently, she'll be parked with her bow raised in the air to allow water to drain out the bungholes. The cover that she came with, that I bought her with, is a relatively old but very well made Jekyll's cover. As I bought the boat, it was advertised as having a cover that maybe had one or two holes in it. I think given the age of the cover, this is pretty understandable. In places the cover is also quite brittle, I suppose due to UV. Some of the sunny days we've had and the constant drenchings have made the cover a little bit brittle. So I have subsequently bought a new one to try and keep the boat in as good a condition as I can. I've ordered this from rain and sun, and I hope that to be here in the next few weeks. What I particularly noted about the cover, apart from how well made it was, and what a good fit it is actually to the boat, was this label. As I've said, it's made by Jekyll's. I was particularly taken by this Speedjack logo. One, because my name is Jack, but also it reminded me of the old British European Airways Speedjack logo. You see a photograph on the top right of a BEA Trident 3 with this quite iconic Speedjack logo on it. I like this logo for the same reason that I like this Jekyll's logo. It has my name in it. So here we have some closer views of the boat. You can see how well she has been taken care of since 1958. Over the 76 years that she has been around, she is in remarkable condition. The previous owners, Tony and Jackie, have clearly done a heck of a lot of work to keep her looking this good, and it will be quite the challenge for me to keep her looking this good. But I am determined to do so. So I think, from what I understand, there are a few things that indicate that she is a Mark I. The obvious features are, well, apart from the age, 1958, the other obvious features are things like the relatively narrow, the relatively wide side decks here on the on this image on the left hand side. On newer Fireflies or later Mark Fireflies, these decks are much smaller, much narrower, and another indication that JADE 1 is a Mark 1 Firefly is this flatter deck, this flatter front deck forecastle with this relatively short breakwater. The later boats have a taller breakwater. Other quite nice features of this boat from these views are these fairly tidy buoyancy bags. Certainly some of the very early Fireflies had shortages of buoyancy. There are some lovely photos that you can find by Googling where boats that have capsized have been almost sunk. Other features include things like these lifting handles, which we'll have a look at more in a moment. There's one here and one here, rope handles, and things like the steel center plate, the galvanized steel center plate, which is raised using these two lines, which run via the base of the mast and are cleated here and here. We don't have to worry about lowering the board. It's so heavy that it lowers by itself. Some of the other nice old features are shown on this slide, including some of the mirror-like varnish work. It really is a piece of art, almost a piece of art. The boat here. In this image on the top left, you can see these lifting lines. These are there. In fact, these are through holes through the forecastle and through the side deck. Through these holes, there are placed these bits of line with knots on either end. These lines are then used to lift the boat and move it around. It stops you from pulling the side decks off, especially. Some lovely old brass or maybe bronze fittings. The maker's plate is shown on the top right hand side, very marine. Interestingly, the sail number, the RYA class number, is different from the hull number. The sail number is 2161 and the serial number is 2166. I will produce another video which gives some reason why this might be. Perhaps I'll do that next week. You can see in the bottom left we have these really nice old Tufnell type jamming cleats in the region of these jib sheet fair leads. Really robust, really chunky, really in period with the boat. Really nice original features. I mentioned the Avon bailers earlier. These are shown here. These are plunger type bailers, which you push down. You push these black knobs down. The bailer opens, and it, in theory, allows water to be sucked out of the boat. Actually, they do seem to work. I suppose they're not as efficient as Elvstrom type bailers, which is why you don't get boats fitted with Avon bailers anymore. In fact, later boats like my Heron, for example, or boats even later than that, all seem to come with this Elvstrom type. I suppose they are just a bit better, but it's interesting. It's interesting to have this kind of piece of history preserved, I think. Another really nice feature of the boat is this transom. I suppose the transom is mahogany or sapele, certainly a sort of hardwood. The rest of the boat is effectively plywood, 3 layers of Agba veneer, which are kind of glued together at 90 degrees to each other to form this kind of hot molded shell. I will perhaps talk about this in my next video also. But the transom, along with the thwart, seem to be solid wood, either mahogany or something like sapele. You can see here the lovely old brass or bronze Traveller for the main sheet, and the name JADE, and the original home port, Whitstable Yacht Club. Whitstable is a beautiful town located on the North Kent coast, famous for many things, including oysters, of all things. This is really nicely hand painted, and I like the name JADE anyway. I think it's a nice name, but even if I didn't like it, I wouldn't change the name. It would be a shame to change it. If nothing else, it's so well painted. The rudder that is on the boat at the moment is a later rudder and stock than the original examples. In fact, I have these in my garage. But, the original rudder and stock and tiller. The original tiller was subject to a small amount of woodworm attack, which has now been treated. But this later rudder and stock was provided with the boat. So for now, I am using it. Again, it is a beautiful piece of mahogany or sapele. Both types of rudder are of the curvy teardrop type. In fact, I'm told that the later straight type is less prone to things like weather helm, but I don't think I'll worry about making a new one. I think I shall take the weather helm as a character of the boat, and probably my ability to sail the boat flat are lacking enough that I wouldn't feel the benefit of the straighter rudder anyway. Yeah, these images shown here, or this image shown here, is of the boat in all of her glory, rigged with the newest set of sails. I really like these very hot molded hulls. They are beautiful. They look like giant seeds, the seeds of giant trees, seed pods, or scaled up conkers or horse chestnuts. They are really nice, just lovely pieces of woodwork. If nothing else, the woodwork is fantastic. You can see here this reproduction rudder, this beautifully curved rudder. The mast is the original 1958 mast. It is the majority of the mast is an aluminium alloy, but the top is wood. Apparently, it was not possible to manufacture masts, tapered aluminium alloy masts in 1958, so that it was normal for early Fireflies to come equipped with tapered wooden tips, which is pretty interesting. The boom is also original, as are things like the main sheet blocks. Again, these lovely Tufnell blocks. This is the latest set of sails that I have for the boat. The boat came with 3 sets of sails. This is the latest set, produced in 1970 by Ratsey and Lapthorne. These are made of Dacron, a Dacron type material rather than cotton, as the original ones were, and they're in pretty good condition. I suspect that they haven't been subject to a great deal of use. You can see that the sail number has fallen off, and this pinky brown text that remains is just the glue, the old adhesive. These I will replace either by finding precise matches and sticking over the top, or by removing these glue marks and starting afresh. But I will have to do some more investigation here. The running rigging is all pretty straightforward. It's all very similar to my Heron, if I'm honest, with this aft main sheet, which I quite like. I find it keeps the cockpit nice and clear. I get on with it. The only kind of quirk, I suppose, in the rigging is the tensioning of the jib luff, which involves cleating a piece of bow and cable and then pulling it sideways over a ratchet with the help of a friend pulling on the forestay. I'll try and get a few photos of this for a later video. You've really got to be careful of your fingers when doing this. The sails themselves are, as I have said, pretty good. I had never heard of Ratsey and Lapthorne until I had bought this boat and did a bit of research. I was amazed to read the history of this company, which is still manufacturing sails in Cowes on the Isle of Wight, albeit now for larger boats. It seems that Ratsey and Lapthorne in their day have manufactured America's Cup, Challenger and Defender sails, as well as equipping such kind of ancient ships as things like Nelson's flagship HMS Victory. So it's a pretty interesting company. Do have a look at their website if you are interested in learning more about their history. I was really interested to find this royal warrant proudly displayed on the sails. It's interesting to think that Her Majesty the Queen may have had the debate about whether to take the wet sails home and dry them in some garage, or whether to leave them in the boat until the next time. Probably not, but anyway, it's interesting to think of these things. Ratsey and Lapthorne were the class sailmakers until the 1980s, I understand, before their focus on larger boats, yacht sails. Now Hyde have the honour of manufacturing the sails for the class. The cotton sails, the original cotton sails, are also by Ratsey and Lapthorne. They are one of the things that attracted me to the boat in the first place. If I'm honest, I will maybe never use the cotton sails, but they're a wonderful piece of history, and maybe for old boat regattas on very low wind days, maybe I will use them. In fact, they are in remarkably good condition. They are not brittle. The cotton still seems fairly strong. It certainly hasn't been degraded by UV or constant soakings in salt water, and the stitching is very good. They're a little bit dirty, but they are very old, so it's probably not surprising. The headsail is in not quite as good condition. It's slightly more stained, maybe because of oil and grease from the hanks, and all but one of the hanks has seized, so they probably need taking off and soaking in something to free them up before then reattaching. I will maybe do this over the latter part of the summer, clean these up and then put them away for use for old boat regattas, that sort of thing. You can see here that the sails were actually manufactured in 1957, a year before the boat was made. The sail numbers are again proudly shown here, or the serial numbers are shown. Sorry, 21747 and 21786. The serial numbers on the sails match the serial numbers on the original Ratsey and Lapthorne sail bag. What doesn't match though is the sail number. 2092 is definitely not 2161. They are close, but they are not the same boats, clearly. So I do wonder what the story is there, how these sails ended up with JADE 2. I see no evidence of other sail numbers having been sewn onto the boat, so perhaps the story is lost to time, but interesting nevertheless. So there we have it. That's all that I've really got to say about JADE 2 at the moment. JADE 2 Mark 1 Fireflies. I will, if there is any interest, perhaps if I have interest, I will make a few videos about a few other aspects of owning and sailing JADE 2. I will make certainly another video about the history of the boat. I've been kindly supplied with a few photos from the original owner, which they have allowed me to share. So I will make another video which provides a bit of history about the boat. So that will come next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.